love, even if you don't.
We're Israel United in Christ. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a nonviolent, Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race or ethnicity or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat as stated in Leviticus chapter 5 and verse 1.
Hey, Shalom Israel. Welcome to another edition of Precept Upon Precept Late Show. We are your hosts. My name is Captain Shem.
Officer Micah.
Officer Yasser.
Officer Thomas.
So all praise to the Most High like we do every single Precept Upon Precept. Actually, before we begin, Officer Micah, hit the PayPal. So we want to thank everybody. We say it, we can't say it enough. All of you that allow us, especially the bishops, deacons, and captains and some of our officers, to travel throughout the world, literally, throughout almost every continent we're there. And we have missions going out throughout the year. So not just Passover, we really appreciate y'all. Some of y'all give that don't even go to IUIC school. You might be hours away, and we appreciate you. Thank you. You help to build our faith and push this truth. So with that, we're going to go straight to Officer Micah and the Watchman report. Stick around.
Israel, Most High in Christ bless. There are some things that are going on, and we're going to get into them. All right, Tech Team, first article. The View host push back after Arnold Schwarzenegger, y'all Terminator, says immigrants need to behave like a guest. Damn. That's how the Terminator thing. You know he's be the governor, too. Eric to continue as tropical rainstorm following landfall as major hurricane in Mexico. Northern Kingdom catching it. I think it was a Cat 4 when it hit. So it did a lot of damage down in Mexico. Next article. Marijuana use drastically increases risk of dying from heart attacks and stroke. Large study finds. So y'all that are secretly smoking weed, hey, y'all better repent and leave it alone. Next article, last but not least. Hundreds of CDLs sold for cash to illegal immigrants. Florida AG. This is not just Florida. It's hitting Texas too. So y'all truck drivers, y'all be careful. And you repent if you one of them that got them illegal license. And this concludes the Watchman Report.
You are now flying.
All right, y'all. As y'all can see, the Carmanians wait for Arab activation. Prophecy. So we got Ishmael in the background, got destruction. Y'all already know what's been going on in the news. Y'all already see what's popping off with Iran and Israel, all right? That's what this thumbnail is about right here. The Carmanians wait for Arab activation. Prophecy.
Look, you notice he's praying. He's praying to Allah. He's got his weapon in his hand. He's got the tanks right behind him. So it's a lot going on in his thumbnail.
And they got the dome.
Oh, yeah.
of the rock over there, and that's a sticking point with the Jewish people because they can't establish the fact that they God's people until they can take that dome out.
And you know what's heavy because AI is interesting because the Iranians are also known as the Persians, and tonight we're going to show you why it's so they're not going to give up. But really, the name I actually named this 2 days ago. Then I changed it, forgot about it. So this is prophecy, and we're going to show you. Remember, because right now when y'all look at it, right, those of you paying attention to the news, right, those of you at home, understand this: that right now it seems as if this is going to be the big war. But the issue is that when it says the Carmanians wait for Arab activation, the Arabs have to unite and rise up before the when the Carmanians actually step up. And we do it all the time. We cover this. Get 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse, I want to say 26, 7, 8, something like that. 29. But start at 28. And here's the thing. We're going to show you what's going on with they're attacking Israel and they're hitting them hard. We got videos and all that to show you that. Read that, please.
This is the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 28.
Shout out to all of y'all that send us stuff. We really appreciate it. I can't use all of it, but we really appreciate you. Read.
Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east.
This is not a good vision. This is a horrible vision from the east. That's why they call it the Middle East. Read on.
Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia.
The nations, plural. Why? Because Ishmael had 12 princes. Oman, Yemen, you got Saudi Arabia, you got the Palestinian Arab. Egyptians are Arabs. Some in Iran are Arabs. Iraqis are Arab. Qatar is Oman, Yemen, the United Arab Emirates, and many other areas. All are Arabic nations, the sons of Ishmael. Read on.
Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots.
With many chariots. What does that mean? They're going to come out with a horse and with a wooden thing behind them? That's talking about vehicles of war. Read on.
And the multitude of them.
Multitude of them. Why? Because Saudi Arabia is the biggest nation over there. They stand with the U.S. There's going to come a time when the multitude of the Arabs are going to stand together. Right. Read.
Shall be carried as the wind upon earth.
Swiftly. Read on.
That all they which hear them,
right,
may fear and
so
tremble.
Is it going to be all the other Arabs are going to be afraid of their own brothers? No, it's going to be the white man and his allies. Read on.
Also, the Carmanians.
That's talking about the Iranians, a.k.a. ancient, they're called Persians. Read on.
Raging in wrath.
Why? Because Tehran is being bombed right now. They're going to remember all the things that happened to the Arabs. They look at the Palestinians. They're against what's going on with the Arab Palestinians getting destroyed in Gaza. They're remembering all that. Now they're getting touched in Tehran, which is the capital of Iran. Read on.
Shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood.
Wild boars of the wood. You can't stop them. Okay. If you Google, y'all at home, Google the word. This video just came out this week. Wild boar. And put down like in stable. It shows a picture of a wild boar running up and attacking a guy. He's in a horse stable. It's right now. It's trending all over. Them things are fierce. If you can find it, find it. Read.
And with great power.
Yep.
Shall they come.
With great power shall they come. That means all this little ballistic missiles that we see that is touching them. That's not great power. They're gonna come. So that's very important. So. When you think that it's going to be a world war, it's not quite there yet, all right? Now, if you find that wild boar thing, I didn't plan that. Get started number 1, tonight's content, number 1. So I'm going to go right into McGregor because a lot of times we do not get to him and Scott Ritter. This is actually a different host. This woman, someone sent me this. Shout out to the brother, the officer that sent me this. McGregor came out today on Judge. I didn't have time. This is good. It's 2 time clips. He's going to break it down very specifically. Y'all pay attention to this guy.
Joining me now to discuss is retired U.S. Army Colonel Douglas McGregor, a defense and foreign policy analyst and former advisor to the U.S. Secretary of Defense. Colonel McGregor, thanks so much for taking the time to join me.
Sure, happy to be here.
Now, I want to get your take on the latest here, as this week the Pentagon has been moving military assets to the Middle East and increasing its presence in the region. But according to President Trump, we now have complete and total control over the skies over Iran. And
Pause real quick. That's the narrative in all the local Edomite media. Oh, the U.S. and Israel controlling all the airspace. That's the narrative. Now, McGregor, who is Esau, who served as a colonel in the U.S. military and was an advisor for today's Pete Hegseth. During the Trump administration, he was the senior advisor for the then Minister of Defense, whatever we call it over in this country, the Senator of Defense, what the hell it's called. So now watch how he's going to go in and destroy the narrative. This is Esau telling on Esau. Play.
to Senator Ted Cruz, we are carrying out military strikes on Iran. So, as you see it right now, is the U.S. at war with Iran, even just with all of the support it's providing to Israel?
Yes, just as we are a co-belligerent in Ukraine, we have from the very beginning been a co-belligerent in the war with Iran that Israel has started. No question about it.
Yeah, and when it comes to how involved the U.S. is going to get, right? I know that that's a major concern right now as we've watched some of Trump's commentary on social media in particular. What are your concerns about where that stands and what that could mean for the American people going into this?
Well, we are committed to action against Iran. It's not a question of if that will happen, but when that will happen. I think there has been a slight delay in order to assemble forces, air and naval, because that's effectively what President Trump is pinning his hopes on, American air and naval power. Now, understand that we have three branches of government in the United States.
Pause what he's about to say, and this is true. We talk about it all the time. Bishop Nathaniel talks about it all the time with the trial of public opinion. Play on.
It's the media, the mainstream media. They are 100% in Israel's pocket. Then you have Congress and the White House. They are 100% in Israel's pocket. And then finally, you have the military-industrial sector led by the retired and active four stars and their shareholders. They are 100% in Israel's pocket. So there is no debate about what will happen. We're going to launch, I would imagine, airstrikes involving primarily B-2, B-1 bombers, delivering very, very devastating, precise munitions, ostensibly to destroy the underground facilities that the Iranians have, and also, I think, to pursue this illusory regime change approach. And we'll kill more people in Tehran and other places that we think are going to be, essential parts of the national leadership. The problem with all of this is air and naval power does not win wars. It never has. Secondly, it's assuming that Iran is weak and already in a state of disarray. The opposite is the case. Israel is in very serious trouble.
Pause. So I want you to understand that the way that they're going to spin it is that they're not. They are in very serious trouble. We're going to show you some footage later on. Go to the next timestamp. I know I don't want to run out of time. There's another timestamp where he's going to start talking about.
Cat, why they looking for that? I was literally talking to some guys at the barbershop today, and they are oblivious to what's going on in the world. In their mind, they're like, yo, no, the U.S., they're in great shape. I said, man, you better pay attention to what's going on. I said, stop watching American news.
Facts.
That's a fact.
Bring it out, man. Y'all bring it out, man.
That's a fact because if you really study what's going on, it's really playing into the scriptures. And as Cap brought out, Iran is just waiting on the Arabs to wake up. And pretty much the Arabs have been aiding Israel. You wouldn't believe it, but they've been aiding them. But when they start to see their hopes dwindle, when they have no more hope, it's going to be a whole different ball game. when the Arabs will walk out there with bombs strapped to them, and perhaps some bombs that are really devastating, and take out themselves, but they're going to take out Israel. Israel's in bad shape right now. They're in a trap. They put themselves in that trap as well.
And you know what's it's amazing, and it is what it is, and it's not reverse racism. It's just truth. When you see Palestinian fathers we showed in the show, it's pretty graphic. A Palestinian father was piecing his son together, putting part of his head together, putting his arms together, and they just show it's like, kind of like just showing a golf tournament. But now that the Israelis, which are Caucasians, are getting bombed, now the pain is settling in, and now they got to tell everyone's story, and they show the tears, and these are a couple dozen people that are being killed. There are thousands upon tens of thousands of Arabs, which again we know it's all prophetic and of the Most High, but it just goes to show you the earth is run by Esau, clearly. And when you have a guy like this who works and was aligned with them at a high level and at a high regard or respect, and he's like, I don't care anymore, and he just tells the truth, and a lot of these guys are doing that. People we can see now, meaning those of us who are wakened up in this truth, but other people can see, wait a minute, this is not all that's cracked up to be, all right? So get the second time click if you can.
This thing we need to take into consideration. Our borders have been open. We have
Pause.
millions.
So now, get, is it Habakkuk? It's about like a caterpillar. I didn't have it in my notes. They will eat them from within. It's,
Jeremiah 51.
I can't remember. I thought it was Habakkuk. Jeremiah. Yes. Yes. Watch what he says. And he brings up a very good point. Play on, and then we're going to get Jeremiah. Thank you. I thought it was Habakkuk.
Millions of people inside this country about whom we know nothing. And we know that corruption, criminality, terrorism, all of those things blend nicely. What could happen inside our country? You could wake up tomorrow morning and find out that a mall in Seattle was blown up and killed several hundred people. You could find out that someone placed a low-yield nuclear weapon in proximity to Washington.
Pause. I want you to look up low-yield nuclear weapon. A low-yield nuclear weapon could be brought in a Subaru, okay? Yep. This is why a lot of these Edomites is trying to secure the border, because a lot of them know what time it is. That's why ICE is, and they think it's all about getting the Mexican back. Yeah, they don't like our people from the Northern Kingdom. A lot of them are worried about these Arabs that have already crossed and stopping them. I talked to one brother at the last Blitz. He told me that he met Arab dudes that sound like they're Dominican, speak perfect Spanish, and they're learning to blend in. And then when they cross, a lot of Esau, they're ignorant. They can't really tell the difference. Oh, he must be a Mexican or Colombian. Some of them dudes is Arabs, okay? What is a low-yield nuclear weapon?
Low-yield nuclear weapons, also known as tactical nuclear weapons, are nuclear weapons with relatively small explosive power compared to strategic weapons. They are designed for use on the battlefield, targeting specific military assets rather than large civilian areas.
Watch the next part.
While still incredibly destructive.
Incredibly destructive. So somebody comes in with whatever, deuce and a half, 5-ton, big-ass SUV with a trailer, and they can target with a nuclear friggin' low yield. This is a reality, and a lot of us are not thinking of this. Read on.
Their years are generally measured in kilotons.
Oh, just kilotons. Read.
Or even tons of TNT.
Yeah, just 12 tons of TNT. Not a big deal. Read on.
Rather than the megaton typical of strategic weapons.
So if these guys come in and they take out bridges, and God forbid that any of this happens, but it can happen, and this is why they're doing what they're doing on the border. So bring it up, please.
So we've been getting a narrative that they've been worried about the electrical grid, and they're saying that a cyber attack's going to get it. But really, the issue is we have nuclear plants all around this country. And if they come with one of them low-yield nuclear bombs
Bring
by
it
one
out.
of those plants, it's going to at least shut it down, if not activate it and it goes nuclear. And if you remember 3 Mile Isle, it said that that thing would melt to the core of the earth if you blew up one of those nuclear plants. So this country is extremely very vulnerable. They fly a plane in there or something like that into one of those plants, boom.
I don't know if real quick, hold your point, Michael. 'Cause remember what you had to say. We did show after show after show. Remember about a year ago or so, planes just start to crash into things. They got all of a sudden things are blowing up in factories. 500,000 chickens are getting destroyed. It was crazy things. Trains were derailing with chemicals that were spilling into rivers. And we were like, wait a minute. And they try to sweep it under the rug. Get Jeremiah, because what's going on is Iran and the Carmanians and the Arabs, why do you think they come to America? Yeah, they come because of the dream to make money, but go to these gas. A gas station is a purpose. A gas station is a hub of travel. A gas station is something that you can. It's an Arab, he owns a gas station. How do you know what's really going on behind the scenes? How do you really know what's going on there? There could be like the USA. The U.S. uses Catholic centers and embassies as CIA hubs, and they can use it as points to gather information. It's the same thing with the Arabs. You don't think they're organized? They're organized and well-funded, and they're waiting for a call or a text or whatever the case may be. It could be a certain alignment of wait till this, and this, and to do that. So it might not be a phone call that they can track. Okay, read.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51 and verse 14. The Lord of hosts has sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men.
Right. And this is not talking about Somalia. Go, where you at? What verse?
Verse 51, sir. Verse 14, sir.
Go to verse 1.
Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 1.
Is he talking about Somalia? Is he talking about Egypt? Read.
Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up against Babylon.
Who?
I will raise up against Babylon. And against them that dwell in the midst of them.
And against them that dwell in the midst of who? Babylon. All right, read on.
That rise up against me, a destroying wind.
Okay, read. Now jump to 14.
Verse 14. The Lord of hosts hath sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men.
Fill thee, Babylon, with men. Read on.
As with caterpillars.
As with caterpillars. And we all know what that means. Bishops have gone over it. The deacons have gone over it. Caterpillars, they are born from the inside and they eat their way out and destroy from the inside out. Facts. That's exactly what's going to happen. This is what Colonel McGregor is referring to. A low-yield nuclear weapon, okay, that is incredibly destructive still. So, and that has radiation as well. These are things, if that were to happen, God forbid, do you think they're going to do it in a cornfield in Kansas? Hell no. They're going to find a major metropolitan hub, a major port of entry. Listen, you killed almost 50,000 Arabs. Doesn't matter if they're Palestinian Arabs. Remember, in 2nd Ezra, it said they will come out the multitude together. So a Palestinian Arab ain't no different than a Yemenis Arab. They all see each other as brothers. They're divided right now by political and ideologies right now in the petro with Saudi Arabia and how they made all that money from the USA. But eventually they're going to form together as one. Okay? Is that it? Okay. Play on and then we're going to move on.
We have no way of knowing. Now, people say, oh, well, they could never do that. How many times have we heard that something like that could never happen, only to discover that it has happened? I hope it doesn't come to those things. But nobody is thinking through this thing very clearly. When I wrote the piece that was published in Zero Hedge about how to achieve peace and argued for convening a great power peace conference and going to the United Nations asking for an immediate ceasefire and telling the Israelis that we would not supply them any further as long as they were murdering people in Gaza, that had to stop immediately. Why? I wrote all of those things because you have to have a conference involving the United States, Russia, China, India, and I would argue Brazil, as a great power in Latin America. And I would say they have to sit there and arbitrate these disputes and end all of this. Well, that would mean that Israel would be compelled to behave like a normal state in the region. And that's unacceptable to Israel. Therefore, it's unacceptable to us. This is a war about not just Israel's regional hegemony, which it is. It's also about financial hegemony in the hands of the United States, directed from New York City and the banks of Great Britain and the city of London. They failed to rip apart Russia, failed to destroy the state, failed to create chaos, and failed to exploit the resources. Now they've turned their attention to the Middle East. What do they want? They want the oil fields. They want to control the region. They have a terrible obstacle in their path right now. It's called Iran. The Iranians have said, no, we are a great civilizational power. We are not going to surrender. We will not turn our country over to you any more than the Russians would turn Russia over to the same financial interests in the West. So this is another replay of the same failed strategy. And how many regime change operations do we have to run before somebody finally figures out this doesn't work? I don't have the answer, but I can tell you right now.
Okay, pause. So this is, he said a lot, and we want to unpack some of this. Go to number 2. And anytime, please, brothers, jump in, and there's a lot that's going down.
One thing I noticed, with this whole situation is the scriptures in Revelation where Christ said, I know they are Jews, but they're not. They're the synagogue of Satan. These people say never again, but they say happened to them in Germany. But they are 10 times worse than what happened in Germany. They just kill women and children indiscriminately. Yep. They take into people's land. They force people into what is really a concentration camp. That's where Gaza is. It's just a concentration. They locked in. Nothing comes in, nothing goes out.
They call it the largest outdoor concentration camp that's ever been.
Ever been.
And I'm going to tell you something. The difference is, and this is where we don't debate the fact that there was maybe some gas chambers. The difference is everybody got one of these, and they got proof now. Yes. All of that is based upon primary documents, what they said happens. Unless you were there, how would you know? You can't deny now. And so now everybody sees the evil of this man. Yes. We're not surprised. We know he's supposed to do that, right? His heart is not upright in him. Okay, now, geopolitical is one timestamp. This guy is going to go, one of the reasons why the U.S. wants Iran to topple them and set up a puppet government, yes, they want control of the oil. That is true. Another thing is pull up the map of Asia. I want to see Iran, Russia. I want to see the whole big continent. Because Esau plays long chess. He plays steps ahead. Can we scroll out a little bit? I want to be able to see Iran. This is good, but if we can back out a little bit. That's good right there. So Esau is looking at, if you look at Iran, okay, next to Iran, you've got Pakistan, right? Pakistan this week said that if it came down to it and the Israelis were to nuke Tehran or anywhere in Iran, that Pakistan would nuke Israel, and they have nuclear weapons. Yep. The reason why they're doing the same thing to China as NATO did to Russia. Why? If they conquer Iran, now Iran's stronger than Pakistan. Pakistan has the nuclear weapon. Now look what you encroach on. Now India. And then from India, you got China. Why? China is in BRICS. India is in BRICS. Iran is in BRICS. And obviously then you're all the way to Russia. They're trying to globally dominate the whole region. The issue is they're not counting on the fact that the Arabs are going to wake up and that Iran is not a pushover. Okay, so remember that. Remember that right there, that map. Keep that in your mind, all right? Go to number 2. Yeah.
To install a pro-Western regime in Iran in order to ally with India as part of the strategy to encircle China. because China is a close ally of Pakistan. So what the US has tried to do is to use India as part of the so-called Indo-Pacific strategy to divide the global south, to divide organizations like BRICS, and to encircle China with pro-US regimes.
This is much more geopolitical. If we have an Iran that is closer to the West and closer to the United States of America, then we can have an Iran that is closer to India, okay? India. And that's why we call it the Indo-Pacific Basin, Steve. So the Indo-Pacific Basin this century, we're already into the third decade of this century, is the defining component. The Indo-Pacific Basin is the defining piece of geography for the remainder of this century. And if we don't deal with China, and they're the wolf inside the hen house. You know, I said this the other day on your show. China is all over our stuff here inside the United States of America. They're everywhere.
This is a strategy going back to the Barack Obama administration when India had a new right-wing pro-US leader who came to power, Narendra Modi
Modi recently did the tour where he came to the White House and he met with Trump and they tried to work out some of the deals before he put the tariffs on all these countries. Modi is pro-US, okay? Because remember, the two major religions in India are Hinduism and Islam. These guys are against Islam. So the Esau is saying, okay, I can try to use the Hindu against the people of Islam in India. Why? Because India is a major, major power. So Esau's already thinking, we get Iran and we move on to that. Now we can get Pakistan. Next thing you know, we surround China. They're thinking 2050, 2060. That's what Esau is thinking in his mind. All right? We're thinking, the black man is thinking about what he can do for tomorrow, for lunch. It's ridiculous. We're completely destroyed. Like you said, we're destroyed as a people. Yep. Okay, play on.
BJP, which is a Hindu nationalist party. Historically, India had been ruled by the left-leaning Congress Party, which during the first Cold War had been relatively pro-Soviet, had very good relations with the Soviet Union. But after the first Cold War, over time, India leaned more toward the center. And then especially when BJP and Modi came to power, they moved more and more into the pro-US, pro-Western camp. Modi and BJP are very anti-Muslim. They're very Islamophobic. And they're also very pro-Israel. Modi has formed a close relationship and friendship with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And in fact, the main opposition party in India...
So that was it, just so y'all know. Watch these, like Officer Micah mentioned, search out for your news on non-Americanized outlets so you can really get what's going on. No one else is talking about the fact that they're trying to think down 30 years down the line to divide Iran after what's the next move. No one's talking about that. Moving right along. Next one is, let's just go right to number 3. This is, I don't know if you can play this one. It says Israel getting bombed, ? It's going to show you some, at the time, real-time attacks.
While we're waiting on them to get that, it just shows really who's in charge of America.
Right.
Mm-hmm. America, all of the poverty that's going on in America, we got homeless people, we got people that's using their credit cards to pay for groceries. Yep. And meanwhile, all the thing they worried about is what's going on in Iran with Israel. It shows you that Israel is really governing over America, because whatever Israel say to do, America's backing it up, regardless of how it makes them look.
To your point, can I get Nahum 3:13? I read an article this morning. I watched a little video on it. Thousands of CDLs they were just being purchased, and I'm telling you, Americans, a group of Americans they're ignorant because they look at it like, oh, it's Hispanics. They get the people that was selling them was Moab. Ishmael, they getting CDLs. They not going to school. They just getting it. And like the article Cap read, they're getting tons of. They can just move tons. They just getting in the truck. Hey, Ishmael, Ahmed, how do you drive? Okay, this is how you do it. They learning this stuff. They ain't hurting for that. They ain't doing it to get the check. They're doing it to get the skill to learn how to drive these trucks. Why? Read that.
It's the book of Nahum, chapter 3 and verse 13. Behold, thy people in the midst of thee are women.
Watch this next part.
The gates of thy land shall be set wide open.
Gates are wide open. Why? Because America's focused on everybody else's business. They're not worried about what's going on. To Officer Thomas's point, people are using their credit cards to buy groceries. The enemy's in here. These gates are wide open right now. Read on.
Set wide open unto thine enemies.
Until who?
Unto thy enemies.
Because they looking at everybody else and they're not focused on what's going on here. Like, hey, let's deport the Hispanics. Let's get them out of the country. Meanwhile, Daniel 2, this is a great melting pot. You got China over here. You got Ishmael over, the Arabs over here. You got all these other nations sitting in this country right now. They were falling. Bishop went over it in class. They were falling off the planes trying to get over here to America.
Hey, why would it read verse 4, the same chapter? Because that's what it's talking. It is talking about Babylon. And when you read Revelation 17, it says the mother of all harlots. Watch what Nahum is saying. Verse 4, same chapter.
The book of Nahum, chapter 3 and verse 4. Because of the multitude of the whoredoms.
Multitude of the whoredoms, read.
Of the well-favored harlot.
Who is the well-favored harlot? That's talking about Babylon the Great. Read.
The mistress of witchcraft.
Witchcraft. They have everybody thinking that the Israelis are actually the victims. They really have you believing that. To the point where today, Ted Cruz was confounded. Pull up Ted Cruz, Captain's posted this. Type in video, Ted Cruz is confounded by Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, I watched that.
Going, you saw that one?
Yeah, I
it's
watched
going
that.
viral. Yeah. Tucker is sharp, man.
Yeah,
that's why Trump don't like him no more. Pull that up because when you just said that, Tucker's like, he's an Edomite. He said, wait a minute. You can't fool me no more. He said, wait, no. A lot of these Esau most are going to use him to expose their own people.
Yeah, he jumped ship. Tucker Carlson jumped ship.
Oh, yeah.
He used to be far right, and now he's...
So when he got fired, he realized, wait a minute. And then he's still an Edomite, but again, the Lord can use him. Wait, rewind it. Yeah, that's it. This is good, y'all. This guy used to be the guy you're like, damn, Esau. But Mosai will move his heart to expose, because a lot of people follow this guy. They like this guy. And they're going to follow him and realize, wait a minute. This guy's ignorant as hell. What is he? Doesn't even know what he's talking about. Yeah. Watch this.
How many people live in Iran, by the way? I don't know the population. At all? No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple? How many people live in Iran? 92 million. Okay. Yeah, how could you not know that? I don't sit around memorizing population
This
tables.
is a senator, Ted Cruz, on national platform. And he's thinking, Carlson's going to be, he's going to give me non-loaded questions. Play on.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government. I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran. You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government. You're the one who claims... You don't know anything about the country. No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the one who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad. You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump? Yes, I do. Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe...
Watch this. He gets this guy to literally spill pertinent information he shouldn't have shared. Right now, watch what he says.
Today. You said Israel was. Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Wait, that's it?
Yeah, that was it.
There's a whole nother part.
Yeah, it was longer than that. But
oh, man.
Cap, he said that we were attacking Iran. He said, wait, did you just say we?
I got it right.
Can you pull up the whole thing? I'm sorry. I didn't. Okay, y'all, listen. This is heavy, man, because, listen, less than a year ago, this guy, Carlson, was and something happened. He got fired. And then he actually went to Russia and started shopping around Russian grocery stores. And he had an interview with, I think, Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, he did.
He had an interview with Putin, and he realizes, wait a minute, I'm being fed a bunch of ish. And he's a guy that really believes in the so-called Christianity and the real values that it represents. Play it.
Hey, if you could watch that.
Like 1 minute. Start back.
I'm throwing this at the tech team. This is hot. This is trending. This is all. I don't believe I didn't bring this into the show.
Spotted, says
So
Fox News.
watch again Tucker Carlson destroy this was live when it happened, which the guy's dumb as hell to even go on.
While they're getting it, Cap, a whole bunch of those right-wingers are now shifting gears. They starting to really see what's going on. Another one is
Your girl.
What's her name?
The sister.
Yeah, the sister.
Candace Owens.
Candace Owens. And she went at them. In fact, she stated that they are not God's people.
I saw
They're
that.
not God's people.
Yes.
She kind
She
of
said
was
they're
stepping
not.
very
She said
lightly
they're
how she
not
did
the
it.
chosen ones.
That's what she said. And then she tried to say Christians are the chosen ones, but
This is heavy.
now.
she know they'll end up at her house.
All right, now. All right, so we're gonna play not all of it, but skip the 1 minute
Yeah, that's about 1 minute.
now.
There are 80 million.
And they can't hide it. It's everywhere. People download. You can't just erase this now.
Or 100 million. Why
Well,
is
because
that
if you
relevant?
don't know anything about the country,
I didn't say I don't know anything about.
okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and
What percent?
predominantly Shia. Okay,
No,
this is
no,
cute.
it's not
Okay.
even. You don't know anything about Iran, so
Okay,
actually,
I am not
country,
the Tucker Carlson
No, but
expert on Iran.
You're a
who
senator
says-
who's calling
Okay,
for the
you're one who
overthrow of the
claims-
government.
You're the
and
one
you
who
don't know
claims
anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump.
No,
You're the
I'm
one
not saying that.
who can't figure out
I'm
if it was
saying
a good
you don't
idea to kill
believe-
General Soleimani, and you
don't
said it was bad.
believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really
we're
believe that,
carrying out military strikes today.
you said Israel was.
Right, with our help.
So he wasn't supposed to say that.
No, he
To
wasn't.
be clear.
No.
And now he's like, oh shit, right? But watch, he's protected. He's a Republican. Play on.
Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
We're not
at all.
bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting Israel.
5'6", you're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with
Yo,
Iran,
see how he looked at the cameraman? Tucker said, yo, we got his ass.
Right.
Hey, man, his ratings are going to go through the roof. But the point is that, and that, I appreciate getting that tech team, is that this is all going down this week, right? So now go to, we're never going to get through everything. Go through Israel getting bombed. So they're going to show this. I think this is Tel Aviv, and it's another city. They're getting hit. The projectiles, not projectiles. The ballistic missiles penetrated the Iron Dome, and here's the evidence of it. It's a YouTube short. Okay.
Air defense network is now under unprecedented strain. Aero interceptors costing $3 million apiece are being fired in huge numbers.
Did you hear
In a
that? Every one of them, rewind it. I believe he said every one of the missiles that is fired for the Iron Dome missile defense costs $3 million. So if they shoot a rocket that costs 10 G's, 20 G's, they spend $3 million to get it out the sky. And sometimes they miss. And that's why Iran's not hitting them with all the big stuff. They hit them with one hypersonic, only one. And they got a bunch of them. Play.
Defense network is now under unprecedented strain. Aero interceptors costing $3 million apiece are being fired in huge numbers in a desperate bid to shield the nation. Intelligence sources warned that at the current rate, Israel's missile stockpiles could be depleted in just 10 to 12 days.
This completely unprovoked attack, no matter what Israel says to the contrary, is a gross violation of the UN Charter and international law. One is left with the impression that Israel's leadership is
disregard. It was I didn't know if that could be loaded. Not a problem. Get do me a favor. Look for tech team. It could be 10 minutes. Look for footage of Israel being bombed. This just YouTube shorts, something like that, right? In the meantime, go to number 5. Number 5 is a article, possibly video. It's a short article. Al Jazeera is well, it's still fairly good. Number 5. Okay, bear with us. Can you see that? I can see it.
Yeah.
Can you see that or no?
Al Jazeera,
Okay.
Al Jazeera. How has Iran managed to pierce through Israel's air defense system?
Remember, $2 to $3 million per missile to hit a rocket. Wait, can I ask you a question? Can you missed some stuff, man. I want to look at the picture. There's evidence. There's a Amalekite. There is a Jewish man there looking at the rubble. That is not in Iran. That is in Israel. Okay. Can we read the caption? I don't know if you can see it.
Scroll the other way.
Scroll the other way.
Right there.
Ultra-Orthodox Jewish men look at heavily damaged building after an overnight Iranian missile strike on June 16, 2025.
That was 3 days ago that this happened. Here's the thing. Now, this is what they allowed to get out. There's also other footage that they suppressed, but they noticed you see a million pictures of Iranian buildings and places getting bombed, but they allowed that to get out. Let's read the article, please.
Israel's launch of air attacks against Iran on Friday prompted Tehran to fire a wave of retaliatory strikes on Israel.
Tehran is the capital of Iran. You're going to hear that name throughout the next couple weeks.
And some Iranian ballistic missiles have pierced through Israel's missile defense system.
Now, I'm going to show you something. Can you do me a favor? Type in ChatGPT or AI. Type in, what is the difference between a ballistic missile and a hypersonic missile? Because a ballistic missile costs a hell of a lot less than a hypersonic missile. But the $3 million counter Iron Dome missile that costs $3 million, it doesn't discriminate whether it's a $10,000 rocket or a $1 million hypersonic missile. This is important to know the difference. Iran is using a long wait game on them. Okay, what does it say?
That's the trajectory.
Hypersonic missiles and ballistic missiles differ primarily in their flight paths and maneuverability.
Okay.
Ballistic missiles follow a predictable high-arching trajectory.
Yes, sir. Okay.
While hypersonic missiles are designed to travel at speeds above Mach 5.
So by default, we know that ballistic missiles are below Mach 5. Hypersonic missiles are Mach 5, and they go a lot higher than that. So they're hitting them with ballistic missiles, which are, in their arsenal standards, are not high-level caliber, the big stuff. Okay, read on.
5 times the speed of sound and maneuver with the atmosphere, making them more difficult to track and intercept.
Okay, so that was it. We can actually go to speed. Go to speed. I'm sorry. There you go. You got it. Right there.
Speed can reach hypersonic speeds Mach 5 during re-entry.
That's the point. Hypersonic missiles, when we saw the Orishnik, it looked like it exploded above in the clouds, and then they came down, boom, 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 like a stomping. And whereas ballistic will come high, project, you see it coming, and it goes down. Hypersonic goes up into the upper atmosphere at super, super fast speeds, and then when it hits, that's what ICBM is. ICBM is an intercontinental ballistic missile. The hypersonic is a mid-grade version of that uses conventional warheads and not nuclear warheads. There's a huge difference. So remember that as the war goes on, when they start using more hypersonic missiles, there's nothing the Iron Dome could do. There's nothing at all.
Cap,
Bring it out.
To your point, those ballistic missiles, they follow a more traditional, like arching type of path, so to speak. Hypersonics, they're unpredictable. It's harder to shoot them down because they don't follow that traditional flight path as the regular ballistics.
So I think this should be a video. Go ahead. You're right. Oh, it is going to play. Good, okay. So we know for a fact that the Iron Dome was breached, and that's the point. And the reason why the U.S. is getting involved, because if they don't get involved, Israel cannot defend themselves against Iran. They cannot, and that's why Ted Cruz told the strategy of America, and he was not supposed to say that.
What's interesting, Cap, is when Russia's fighting Ukraine, they find that Russia is using the drones from Iran. So yeah, they're very hard to deal with, those drones from Iran. So if Russia's getting drones from Iran, Iran is getting technology from Russia for their ballistic missiles, for their hypersonics, because they can't bring those things down. They send them with a cluster of drones mixed in, and they can't. The Iron Dome can't figure out what's what. Misses a lot of stuff. You see, the Iron Dome, actually, those missiles miss Iran stuff and hit their own stuff. They got them twisted up over there right now. Iran is on point.
And so Trump has no choice but to back up. Bring it out, Thomas.
Oh, I would better give me Job chapter 20 verse.
Bring it out.
Job chapter 20 and verse. Start at verse 24. I was really just fixing my glasses, Cap.
Oh, okay. I thought you was going like this.
This is the book of Job, chapter 20 and verse 24.
Uh-huh.
He shall flee from the iron weapon,
Uh-huh.
and the bow of steel shall strike him through.
Now, this is not talking about a bow and arrow. It says the bow of the bow of steel shall strike him through. Read on.
It is drawn and cometh out of the body.
Uh-huh.
Yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him.
And that's what we just seen. We just seen the glittering sword, because remember, Job can't explain what he's seeing.
Right.
He's saying it looked like it's in the air. It's glittering, and it looked like it's a sword. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at those ballistic, those hypersonic missiles, showing you that that this war, all of these wars, are prophecies coming out of the Bible. The prophets seen it way before time.
You know what also shows, right? Is that I'm thinking about the prophets seeing things. The prophets saw things that happened at night, because during the day you could see a fire trail, but at night, like you just branch it and you see that, Job's like, yo, look at it. It looked like a sword, but he's trying to describe it, and there's some heavy stuff. So our forefathers saw the future.
He mentioned in the latter part of that scripture that it comes out of it. How did he say it?
Out of his body.
Yeah, it comes out of his body. It's talking about those coming out of the silo.
Yes.
It's talking about those that's coming off the back of those trucks carrying those missiles. That's what it's talking about, and that's how they get them in the air, and then he sees them, and then he's explaining them as best as he can.
What happens with their Iron Dome system, and this is why that I remember in those meetings, these generals they understood it. This was years ago. They were losing their minds. 'Cause what happens? Radar detects incoming projectile. Back a truck launches a missile to intercept it. You can't do that with hypersonic. Anything close to Mach speed, you not gonna catch it. It's going to hit its target. You can't track it. If it's going up, that radar, it'll catch it, and it'll send something to intercept it. That's the Iron Dome in a nutshell.
The Iron Dome is going to rust. That joint about to rust, and it's rusting right now. Yeah. Let's finish this article. We're going to go to break in about, 10 minutes? Okay, cool. All right. Read on, Officer Solomon.
Israel's launch of air attacks against Iran on Friday prompted Tehran to fire a wave of retaliatory strikes on Israel. And some Iranian ballistic missiles have pierced through Israel's missile defense systems.
This is the point. If a ballistic missile is able to pierce through, there's a difference between the two. There's nothing, like Officer Micah said, if you can fire ballistics, there's different grades of ballistic missiles. And then you got hypersonic. They're proven without their most fierce firepower, they're touching them right now. Yep. And they're running out of munitions. How many do they have? 10,000 of those $3 million rockets? There's a limited, and when you looked at the video, they shot like 3, 4, 5 of them at one projectile. Choo, 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 choo. Because it wasn't incoming rounds. It was outgoing rounds that was going up. Yeah. And every time they shoot, let's say in one night they shoot 20 of them. 20 times, that's $60 million. Think about that. And Tehran's like, we know. Yes, we know. Okay, they're being the long game. Okay, read on.
And hit key targets. Israel's escalating attacks have killed more than 240 people, including 70 women and children in Iran. In retaliation, Iran has fired about 400 missiles and hundreds of drones.
That's what Officer Yas was talking about.
Killing at least 24 people in Israel, wounding hundreds, and forcing Israelis across the country to take cover in bomb shelters.
A lot of Israelis, Jewish, are fleeing the country. Type in Israeli fleeing war. Type in Israeli citizens fleeing war. They're going to, I believe, Greece. They're going to all different parts of the world. They're leaving because it's a war zone. If you could find anything on that, and just bring it up a little bit later.
Hey, Cap, to your point, Bibi Netanyahu, he said that the American citizens could not leave. He's using them as shields.
Yeah, right.
Just disgusting. He's using them as shields to bring America into the war. So America said, hey, you killed some of our people. Now we got to fight.
So this is good stuff. So we're going to play a couple minutes of this video. This I believe it's maybe Tel Aviv, okay? And they're going to show you a little bit of what's going on. Play.
Israeli residents flee after Iranian missile strike hits Ramat Gan residential neighborhood. Eyewitnesses describe loud whistle, powerful blast as missile crashes into Tel Aviv's suburb.
This right here is only a taste of what they've been doing to Gaza.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Right.
Don't run now.
They still got buildings standing.
It was like a tsunami above us, says resident after Iran strike.
And when Gaza people fled into the tunnels underneath Gaza, they was making a whole lot of noise about that. But the Israelis are fleeing in the bomb shelters under the ground now. Now the tables are turned.
They reap what they sow, bro. And
what they
Esau is going to pay for what he has done. He's going to pay. See if we can skip ahead. I don't know if it's possible. They're actually, Israeli citizens are leaving, the ones that are getting out, and they're going to European countries, and they're seeking refuge.
That's daylight, those missiles are coming in.
If we cannot, I saw some evacuated, left shaken. Okay, that's not Tel Aviv. That's a coastal city. Keep going. Windows blown out. Blah 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 blah. I just wanted to see if there's a name where they say they're going, they're fleeing. So it's a lot worse than the American media is portraying. They're getting bombarded with multiple ballistic missiles and drones that are coming in, and they're damaging all type of neighborhoods, and not just Tel Aviv, it's other cities as well. Let's go back to the article, and then we're going to go move on.
Some Iranian strikes have hit residential areas in central Israel, causing heavy damage. Israel's fortified military headquarters in Tel Aviv, the Kira, was also hit, although damage was limited there.
What is that? That shows that they have intel. The Iranians have intel. If they didn't just randomly pop up on it, they knew where to strike, and so they're playing the long game. Read on.
On Tuesday, Iran said it hit a military intelligence center and a Mossad spy agency.
Right.
Operations Planning Center. breaching Israel's advanced missile defense systems, some of the most advanced in the world. In recent history,
Wait, did it just say that they're strategically targeting and hitting Israeli missile defense systems? So that means they know where the launch points are for the Iron Dome. That's what that means. And now, scroll down to the Iron Dome, and then we're going to move on.
What is Israel's Iron Dome?
I'm sorry. Jump to the next verse, because we know what it is. Jump to the next paragraph, Solomon.
The Iron Dome detects an incoming rocket or missile.
So a ballistic missile, it could even be something like Officer Micah said, something small, low-level rocket that costs $3,000. You're going to spend $2 to $3 million to try to bring that thing down. Okay, read on.
Determines its path and intercepts it. Yep. Israel said the Iron Dome is 90% effective.
10% ineffective. Read on.
It became operational in 2011 after it was developed to counter rocket attacks during the war with Hezbollah in 2006.
And the only reason why they ever got it is because of the U.S.-backed funding and constant annual resupply of all the weapons on the house. Read on.
Gotopoulos explained that the Iron Dome was designed to intercept low-level rockets.
There you go.
Bring it up. Speak on it.
Low-level rockets. That's what it was designed for. That's why if you fire 10 rockets, it may only capture about 3 of them.
Right. And if you fire Mach 5 and higher, which is a hypersonic missile that goes up and then comes down, it explodes, boom, 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 boom. You're not touching that.
No.
Just like the Russians fired the Horesnik, I think it's called. The Ukrainian army could do nothing. Okay? And that's what Trump, okay, read on.
The Iron Dome was designed to intercept low-level rockets that larger systems would not be able to detect. Israel also has the Barak 8 surface-to-air missile system, which intercepts medium-range missiles, the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, which intercepts short.
Okay, so in interest of time, we're going to move on, showing that they have different levels of interception. But the Iron Dome is what they always talk about. Iron Dome, Iron Dome. That's why Trump wants to build the Golden Dome over America, which means he knows there's flaws in that. They're trying to build the Golden Dome, meaning the supreme missile defense system. Now, next one, speaking of Trump, go to number 4. This guy, Most High using this guy. Trump, some in his own party don't even know what he's going to. There's people right now that sit next to him that don't even know, because he has not made his mind up fully if the U.S. is going to actually take part in a direct war. They're proxy right now, and they are supporting Israel. Ted Cruz blew the air on that one. Number 4.
Al Jazeera. Nobody knows what I'm going to do. Trump embraces ambiguity towards Iran.
Ambiguity, so it's like uncertainty.
The U.S. president has signaled he may get involved in Israel's fight against Iran, but has not made a final decision.
I don't believe that. They built all of those defense systems years ago, so they were planning for the war back in 2006. So they know exactly what they're going to do next.
And what we read later on, Iran has been, since 1979, there was an Iranian revolution. Remember there was the Iran-Contra, what was it called? When they hijacked the plane? The Iran...
I can't remember his name, Shaw.
The Shaw was the leader, but it was a big thing when as a little kid. It was Iran hijacked a U.S. plane.
Army?
What the hell was it called? Gosh. Yes. Anyways, it'll come to me. Read on.
President Donald Trump has continued to offer mixed signals about whether the United States will directly intervene in the ongoing conflict between Israel and Iran, which has seen 6 days of intense bombing.
Now, what's heavy about that, Cap, is Russia already warned America not to get involved.
That's it.
With Israel and Iran.
But didn't Trump already, him and Netanyahu talk about they got timeshares set up for Gaza after they bombed the hell out of them? So he got to protect his investment, right?
And how are they going to hold up Ukraine if they go into Iran?
Uh-oh.
Ukraine going to be wiped off real quick because they have no support. It's a
slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope.
It was TWA Flight 847. It was 1985. I remember watching on TV. 85, and it was hijacked and held hostage. It was Hezbollah, actually, demanded the release of 700 Shia Muslims from Israeli custody. And ever since then, they've been trying to start this war. Where we at? Is that it on that?
That's a little more.
Let's get out of here. We're running out of time. Before we go to break, one more thing. Hold on a sec. I want you to pull up, I want to preface this. Pull up a map of the Strait of Hormuz. This is very important. The country that controls this strait effectively controls the Persian Gulf. This is incredibly important. Everyone needs to, you're going to hear this term. If you look, that little valley or the inverted, whatever it's inverted triangle there, called the Strait of Hormuz, where that comes up like that, where the Gulf of Oman joins the Persian Gulf, it is on Iran's shore. They control that. Look at the strategic position they have all around that upper, whatever the hell you call it, where the red dot's at. They have complete control over that. They can shut, right, the peninsula that goes up, but where that's at, whatever it's called, they have that position. All the oil that comes out of Iraq, out of Kuwait, out of Saudi Arabia, out of Iran, out of Qatar, out of the United Arab Emirates has to pass that point. Yep. And what McGregor was saying, and I get a chance to timestamp it, is that if Iran wanted to, they can shut that down. He said, and then you know when you're going to know about it, Americans, is when the oil goes up to $7, gas goes to $7 a gallon. And then we're going to start paying attention. So this is going to be in the news. The Strait of Hormuz, pay attention to that. Okay, this is a huge, huge deal. Okay, with that, we're going to go to break. We're going to come back. Now, last half hour of the show. Stick around, y'all. Shalom.
Hey, Shalom Israel. No sign Christ bless. Why do you subscribe? IUIC New Orleans, subscribe. Go to our YouTube page. Help us to grow. Comment, like, share. What's going on? Make it happen.
I got the power. Come on. And the whole world in my hand. You want this? How? My hand is I got the power. Come on. And the whole world in my hand. You want this?
Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ bless. Another book review. We're still reviewing the book Medical Apartheid. And the reason it's very important because it gives us the history of what has occurred from colonial times till today. And I want to go over like bullet points really quick. I want to finish up with this book review on this book. So the summary is part one was about, and you need to get this book. This book really going to help you appreciate how you should be conducting yourself with dealing with the medical institution here in this country. All right? So chapter one was about Southern discomfort. It goes into how racist beliefs and persuasive science about black inferiority, black inferiority were used to justify the enslavement and dehumanization of African Americans with collaborating with slave owners, physicians, collaborating with slave owners. In chapter two, it goes in the profitable wonder. This sister who did this book Miss Washington. She did a wonderful service to us all. This chapter details how surgeons in the South exploited enslaved individuals for medical experiments, sometimes even purchasing slaves for this purpose. Chapter 4 through 6 goes into, these chapters discuss the 19th century. In the 19th century, teaching hospitals relied on black bodies. And if you get into them chapters, it goes into here in Louisiana, how the hospitals were purchasing in New Orleans. So we're really talking about Charity Hospital here in New Orleans, how they would get these black bodies for training. They would also experiment on the women. They were not using any anesthesia. You really, I mean, you got to check it out. The Tuskegee is number 7 chapter, but everybody knows about the Tuskegee syphilis study. Everybody knows about that one. That one's pretty common, but there were literally thousands of studies like that where they would give us cancer-causing agents and to see how it affects us. There's an account in there about a man who got cancer injected into his leg when he went in to get surgery, and his leg rotted off, and they would never even tell him. Chapter 8, the black stork. This goes into eugenics. And we all know about eugenics. Just like here in America, they use eugenics. In Israel, they did the same thing to the Ethiopians without the Ethiopians knowing. So this is something that these people do on a regular basis, these the hateful people. Now, I'm not saying every individual, but I am saying it's if you see something happening multiple times, you got to take account. For instance, if a light bulb is out in a multi-light situation, you take care of that light bulb. But if you come in and you find that all the lights is out, well, you suspect something's wrong with the whole system. Got it? Chapter 10, prison experiments. Chapter 11, experiments on children. And it goes into these chapters about how that a mother had a son, and they want to experiment on her son. And she didn't want to let him, but she had another son. And they got him into the prison system, and she knew that because of that they would mess with her other son, so she allowed him to do it. So then it goes into the epilogue. But I want to bring up the next point, the fact that how we view these institutions. We look at these institutions in the wrong light. These doctors make an oath. The term hypocritical oath typically refers, you can read this, Officer Solomon.
The term hypocritical oath typically refers to a situation where someone takes an oath, such as the Hippocratic oath for doctors, but then acts in a way that contradicts the principles they swore to uphold.
So this is clear. Hypocritical oath means they act contrary to what they say they're doing. That's what's going on here. The next one. This is this the same thing? Oh, this is read this.
The traditional oath taken by doctors known as the Hippocratic oath. It is a set of ethical principles that guide medical practice and is attributed to the ancient Greek physician Hippocrates.
So we see the similarity in hypocritical and Hippocratic. Now let's go to the next one so we can get the understanding of what a hypocrite is.
A hypocrite is a person who pretends to have virtues, moral or religious beliefs, principles, etc., that they do not actually possess.
Keep going.
They act in contradiction to their stated beliefs
Say
or
that
feelings.
again.
They act in contradiction to their stated beliefs or feelings. The term often carries a negative connotation, implying insincerity and a lack of genuine conviction.
So when we look at the historical accounts from colonial times to the modern times, we have to consider, like the Tuskegee experiments, that they were hypocrites. They were supposed to be helping the families that they infected with syphilis, right? I got a scripture I want to bring out, and then we're going to wrap this one up. Matthew 23, 27 through 28.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 23 and verse 27. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For ye are like unto whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones.
Wow, wow. So there's the definition from the Bible what a hypocrite is. He says it's like whitened sepulchres, looking beautiful on the outside, but the inside of these institutions and the thinkings and the minds behind the medical institution is like dead man bones, man. It's messed up. So we have to make sure we take care of ourselves. We have to, like Captain Shem is bringing out about taking care of our diet. We have to look for use herbs and stuff. You can go to the doctor for broken bones and stuff like that, and I can't give you medical advice, but I would think twice about taking vaccines and shots and things like that. Do your research. And with that, Most High in Christ bless.
I got the power. Come on. And the whole world in my hand. You want this? Power. My hand is warm. Sons of God! We love it! We love it!
And when you say it takes a village, you're a freaking village. Please don't stop being a village.
This is how it is. This is how it's supposed to be. We out here in Humboldt Park, Chicago, Illinois, for the quote-unquote Puerto Rican parade. It's a time where people like to revel and party. A lot of Puerto Ricans here, so-called Puerto Ricans, are tribe of Ephraim, so we here because the Most High commands us to. He says, go to the chief place of concord. So we have to wake our people up to the true nationality. And this is a perfect opportunity to show them what's going on around the world with the ICE and the uprisings and the deportation, to wake our people up to their true nationality.
Please, stay blessed. Stay blessed.
Toca a nosotros, con la devoción que nos une, en un momento crítico de su historia. Estamos cansados de una esclavitud denigrante. ¡Levantaos, puertorriqueños!
Shalom, Most High Christ, bless Captain Abiel here, near Humboldt Park, Chicago. Pedro Albizu Campo was a revolutionary Puerto Rican looking to unify the people. We're here to unify the people on a global scale. You're the Israelites.
I support y'all, respect you brothers.
Even if you don't have wives and children, you're still a family. Because you love and you care about each other. That's what a family is. People who come together and look out for each other. Please don't stop doing that.
All right, back to the thumbnail. Welcome back, Precept upon Precept. The Carmanians wait for Arab activation prophecy. All right, and we're showing you what's going down in the Middle East right now. Pull up actually, go. Not yet. Do me a favor. I just sent something from General MC News. Can we show that picture? So this was just reported in at 10:48 that I forwarded. I think it was 10:30 actually, excuse me. Iranian missiles destroyed a Microsoft facility in Israel. So this is happening as we speak. So the war is going on, and it's showing you it's continuing a breach of their missile defense systems, to include the Iron Dome. Okay, why would they attack a Microsoft? Because they know where it's at. They know that they have certain things stored there. There's chips. It's a business. It hurts their economy when they do that. They're fighting them slow and steady. Now,
Iran getting their pigback because Israel, that first strike that they hit, I think they killed like one of the top science guys. They killed a lot of important people over there in Iran.
They killed a bunch of them.
Generals and everything.
Soleimani, they killed him, and they still been taking out a couple of the other top figures. So they not trying to hear anything.
Right.
And one of the videos I saw when the bombs were coming in from Iran into Tel Aviv, I saw a cooling tower which was hooked to a nuclear facility. It was really close. It almost hit it. And I Googled Israel's nuclear facilities, and Wikipedia says, well, they don't have any, but they have research nuclear facilities. So, but Iran could hit one of their facilities as well.
Mm-hmm.
And again, those things melt down. That land will be not inhabitable.
Check this out. Go to number 7. So how is Iran, how do they understand what targets to hit, right? It's obviously that just like Mossad are spies in the U.S. government, they got spies in Iran and all Iraq. You think Iran is not on a high level of, how do they know how to attack Israel's their version of the CIA, the intelligence building? Watch this, number 7. It's a short video. It's an Instagram, I think.
Explosions in and around Israeli intelligent buildings.
Rewind it from I want to see how like Mike has said, I want to see the trajectory. Is it coming straight down or did it come in? Let's see if we can see the trajectory.
But you see all those white lines, Cap. That's where they tried to intercept it.
Right. Another one. Didn't work.
The white smoke you see going up, that's the actual intercept. They're trying to intercept them, but it's not working.
Belonging to the Military Intelligence Division. The images were
so to the point. This video was something that was from a day or two ago. We don't have the video, but they just hit a Microsoft. I don't know if it's a factory in Israel. This just breaking news that just came in. So if we've shown like 3, 4, 5 missile strikes, we showed you that they hit. There could be dozens, if not hundreds, that they're not reporting. Okay, so. Keep in mind, this is play on. I think that may be it.
The images were originally published on Israeli platforms and later deleted.
That's what they do. They don't want you to see they're hurt, but to make it look like they're strong. No, they're getting pummeled. Play on.
After a ruling from Israel's military censor, Al Jazeera was able to geolocate the series of explosions.
Looks like I saw. You can see 5 clouds,
including the 700 meters from the Mossad intelligence headquarters.
The Mossad intelligence. You hear about Mossad all the time. Mossad. They're like the Israeli CIA agents. Okay. Play on.
The Israeli military censor has
So,
forbidden.
Mike, you're talking about the
The-
fingers that come up. The
That's smoke.
Those
That's outgoing. They trying to actually hit them. The ones dropping in, that's incoming. Outgoing is trying to intercept. Incoming is coming in and hitting
So
the
there's
target.
at least 4.
They trying to hit it.
That's $12 million right there.
They're trying to hit them.
Remember, they said the low level, even a low level drone. This shows that 2 things. Number one, not only are they successfully hitting during the nighttime, they're also hitting at the daytime.
Yep.
Why is it important? Because that means they're round the clock bombarding the crap out of them. That's the point. And the U.S. and Israel and the European countries, they're not as strong as they're leading on to say that they are. Number 8, first 3 minutes.
While we're waiting on that, can I get one scripture?
Bring it out.
Give me Jeremiah 49:20, because as the longer this war prolongs, the more it's likely that America is gonna get. We know America gonna get involved, but Israel is gonna get them involved. Because when you watch the Tucker Carlson interview, he talked about AIPAC and how AIPAC has the interests of Israel, and the lobbyists are giving money to America. So of course they're gonna work in Israel's interest. Read this, Jeremiah 49:20.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49 and verse 20. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Edom.
So what you want to understand is that the Bible is the counsel of God. This is how you understand what God thinks and how he feels about every nation, about every people. Read on.
And his purposes, that he hath purpose against the inhabitants of Teman.
Read on.
Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out.
The least of the flock is Israel, and they're gonna draw America into this war. And once America gets involved, then Russia gonna get involved, and then China gonna get involved, and they don't want to really. They try to make it seem like they could get into it with Russia, but they really don't want no smoke with Russia, and they really don't want no smoke with China. So this is all in the hands of the Lord. The Lord is gonna draw them out into this war. It's inevitably going to happen. That's all I got.
Go to go to the same vein, Jeremiah 50 verse 45, because watch the end of 45. So it's the same counsel of the Lord, same prophet. Watch this. Same least of the flock. Watch this.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 51 and verse 45. Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord.
Just like Officer Thomas is bringing out. Read on.
That he hath taken against Babylon.
Proving that Babylon is Edom. That proves that Babylon is the white man. Prove it right there. This is not talking about ancient Babylon. Read on.
And his purposes.
What is his purpose? His purposes are global dominance. Read on.
That he had purpose against the land of the Chaldeans.
Right, that's okay. The Chaldeans, read on.
Surely the least of the flock.
That is Israel. Read on.
Shall draw them out.
Now, look on a map. Israel's a speck. It's a white country. It's originally an Arab country. It was the Ottoman Turks, and before that was our people. But that's the least of all the Western civilization. That little speck of land called Israel is where all the Western civilization is using as a pivot point to fight the whole Middle East. Okay, that's the stronghold. Watch this, read.
Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them.
It doesn't matter even if they reach the peace agreement in 5 years and it lasted for 6 months. Surely it's going to happen. But why? Watch this.
At the noise of the taking of Babylon.
Right, watch this.
The earth is moved.
Hold up, no.
And the cry.
Surely the least of the flock. Surely he shall.
Surely the least of the flock.
No. Oh, I'm sorry, Solomon. Go ahead. Sorry.
Verse 46.
No.
Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out.
Right. Then he says, surely again. Watch.
Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them.
Because that's how Israel is going to be destroyed. It has to happen like that. Which goes back to, and here's the other thing we're forgetting. In Revelation 17, it talks about the 10 horns shall hate the whore. all that's going to happen simultaneously. All that's going to happen around the same series of events. And we're at the beginning of the end. You got a U.S. Senator, Ted Cruz, on national television who, the night before, the Secretary of Defense says, no, we're not doing it. He says in a live interview, and on Esau, telling on Esau, we now, the people can see it, whereas before they didn't have the media outlets. Where are we at? This? Yes, first.
Let's revisit that extraordinary moment we saw a short time ago as Iran's state TV was struck by an Israeli attack live on air.
Pause. Now, I need to figure this out. Mike, I believe that looks like incoming.
That's the incoming, Cap.
So now that trajectory is not like this.
No, that's.
I think those might be, they may be hypersonic. I can't 100% be sure. But look at that.
That's incoming.
Yeah.
Damn.
They're definitely using hypersonic.
They are.
We were just looking at a post about hypersonic. Cap, can I get a scripture?
Yeah, of course.
To bring out what you're showing, how they become weak. And that's Isaiah 14, 4, and 16. What happened to my reader?
He getting it. He over there.
Oh.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 16. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee.
I thought you wanted 4 first, right?
14,
I
4.
heard 4.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 4. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased.
So this is just to identify what 16 is going to bring out. Come on.
Verse 16. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms?
So Bishop brought out on the Sabbath class that Babylon this is big Babylon. Israel is little Babylon. And it's been going around, Israel been going around beating up on the nations, making them tremble for years. You know, how they ran the people out after 1948 and all of that. And America been doing much, much worse. But now they're struggling. You see, the other nations are looking at them, and Iran is saying, you sure you that bad?
Right.
You ain't as bad as you think you is. So they're looking at them as being weak now.
And that whole Isaiah 14 chapter is a beautiful chapter, y'all. And to your point of Siasa, we could do, look at the verse where it says, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. That shows you the men he's talking about. Who were the ones that ascended first?
All praise.
It was the white men, whether you call them Russia, whether you call them mainly it was the U.S., they were the ones that did that. So proving that Babylon is not talking about ancient Babylon. This is prophetically Babylon the Great.
Yes,
so, listen, we've heard these scriptures a million times, but now they're coming to pass. Because before, now they're like, wait a minute. Israel's not as strong as they're supposed to be, because we done saw just tonight in tonight's short class, tonight's show, we saw multiple destruction and ballistic missiles and regular missiles that have already hit and breached the Iron Dome during the nighttime and during the daytime. We saw that tonight. Matter of fact, just a half hour ago, they hit a Microsoft center in Israel. So, play on.
Bringing an end to a live broadcast. This is the moment where it happened.
Now pause. This happened in Iran. This is Iranian, one of the most popular Iranian, I think, nightly news style. And watch what happens during a live air. Play.
آنچه که ملاحظه کردید صدایی که شنیدید فضای غبارآلوده استادیوم
She ain't even screaming. You can tell.
This is the sound.
Say it again, Austin Thomas.
They used to getting bombed. She ain't scream. She ain't yell. She just kind of walked off the camera.
That's it.
But that tells you the level of intel that the Israelis had.
Yes.
They
Yep.
knew that show was going on, and they tried to take her out. And they don't care who they decapitate.
They have the spirit that within them. That's why they can kill innocent children in Gaza. We know it's of the Lord, but and they just have no heart. And then you got Irish diplomats that are screaming, and other Caucasians, they can do nothing about it. They can't touch them because God has them in power. God, just like he hardened Pharaoh's heart, he's hardening Netanyahu's heart. He's going to move with Trump to get him to do his bid to be able to bring all the. What is going to, for example, if they didn't do all these things, the Arabs would be comfortable. They need something to prod them to the level where, okay, it was bad, brother, with 50,000 of our brothers in Palestine. But now they have taken it too far. It's going to come a point, it's going to be the straw that broke the proverbial camel's back. And once that happens, and the Arabs unite, like 2 Ezra 15, then the Carmanians are going to realize it's time. And God's going to put all that in order, okay? Time is 11:14. Okay, play on.
Aggression against the homeland. That's what the TV presenter said there as those strikes hit. This was the scene outside the television building moments after the Israeli
They hit them during the daytime. Play on.
attack. State TV has since resumed live broadcast. Multiple explosions have rocked other parts of Tehran as well. Take a listen. It follows the Israeli military issuing evacuation threats to residents in parts of the capital for the first time since the conflict started on Friday. There are no bomb shelters in Tehran, and there's been heavy traffic as people scramble to leave the capital. Iran now says it's preparing for, quote, the largest and most intense missile attack in history on Israeli soil as a response. Right, well, let's take a look at the geography of this area in Tehran, where Israel issued its evacuation threat. Now, that's District 3 of the Iranian capital. The state television building is just outside this area.
By the way, Tehran, pull up population of Tehran. I want to put it in perspective, right? Some of the largest cities in North America. Mexico City has, I believe, 12 million people. New York City has like 8.5 million. That's the largest city in the U.S. Guess what? LA has 3.5 million. Look at the population of Tehran. It is nearly 10 million people. And then the greater metro area, like if you look at Dallas-Fort Worth, that's a metro area. The New Orleans greater metro area has like 2 million. That's bigger than New York City. That's bigger than London, England. 16.8 million people are in the city and the surrounding metro area. That is tremendous. One of the U.S. officials mentioned that Tehran will burn with fire. And the only way you're going to make that happen is with a nuclear bomb threat. And Donald Trump did say, just read a post, that using tactical nuclear weapons is not off the table. He just made that statement in his tweet. You can go look it up. We're talking major, major destruction. Look at how many millions of people are in Tehran. That is bigger than New York City. Look at how tight the buildings are. It is absolutely tremendous. Play on.
Inside this area, there are some European embassies, UN offices, and Revolutionary Guard offices. And in Iran's northwest, authorities say an Israeli strike has hit a hospital in the city of Kermanshah. The facility was damaged and patients were injured. That's according to state media. Iran's foreign ministry is calling it a war crime. Israel has said it has no intention of killing civilians. However, at least 200
Please, someone, you got to be kidding me.
If you repeat a lie often enough, that's where you got to go with that. They just tell that thing all the time.
It is what it is. And here's the thing. Edomites, they even know that, oh my gosh, he's really lying bad this time. they understand that. Even like the people you work with, right? The average American who goes to work and Caucasians they know what time it is. I work with the guys, pretty cool bunch of Edomites. They talk it. They know what's going on. They know it's wrong. They know that a lot of us being over and fighting with Israel, a lot of regular, they know that it's BS. Okay, and Tucker Carlson's one of the ones that said, "Wait a minute, hold the hell up," with his Senator Cruz. Is that it, or is we done with that, or play it out?
54 people have been killed since Israel started its attacks on Iran on Friday, and that includes 70 women and children. Right, well, reporting from outside the state TV building, a reporter said that many of his colleagues were still inside the building when the strike happened. Let's take a listen.
I'm Yunus Shadlu, a defense editor. Over the years, I've done many...
That's the same. That's when the news station got bombed. I thought it had something on Israel. Remember earlier I asked y'all if we can get some footage of Israel being bombed. Did we find any of that? It doesn't. Okay. All right. Is there anything else on that before we move on? Okay. That's no problem. Now, last thing, I want to go to number 9. This isn't. It's an article from Surf Iran, and it's the history of the Persian Gulf. It's a long read, but we're not going to read all of it. So this is, okay. We talked about the Gulf of, is it Hormuz, I believe it's called. This is very important.
Safir and Mag. The Persian Gulf, history's irrefutable name. Persian Gulf versus Arabian Gulf, a political debate against proven facts. The Persian Gulf, a strategic waterway cradled between Iran and the Arabian Peninsula, stands as a vital artery for global trade and energy. Its vast oil and gas reserves underscores its geopolitical significance. For over 2,500 years, this Gulf has carried the name of Persian Gulf.
Now, scroll down. There should be some tabs. Okay, we see what says contents. Go down to cultural significance.
Cultural significance. The Persian Gulf has long been a crossroad of civilization.
Right. Y'all remember the movie, is it The Immortals? The Immortals in the movie 300. Who was the guy that came to challenge the 300 on the shores? It was Xerxes. He was a Persian, right? That is ancient. So that they've been fighting over that land and all of that for millennial, not centuries. Read on.
Persians, Arabs, Indians, and Europeans exchanged goods and ideas along its shores via the Silk Road.
Now, we learned about that in much as the Silk Road, which I believe led all the way to China. Read on.
The name Persian Gulf honors the Achaemenid Empire's legacy, whose art, architecture, and governance profoundly shaped the region. Landmarks like Persepolis.
Do the best you can.
Founded in 518 BCE.
518. That's 518 years before the birth of the Messiah. Read on.
And the Imam Reza Shrine in Mashhad, Iran.
So that shows you that the Iranian civilization is over 2,500 years old. And the point is that they're not backing down. And this is what the U.S. does not understand. Play on.
Embody this heritage.
Scroll down. Yes, this is what I want. I'll type economic and strategic importance.
Economic and strategic importance. The Persian Gulf drives the global economy.
So it does not just drive the local economy. It affects Canada, U.S., South America. It affects everyone. This is why it is so important what's going to happen in the next couple weeks. Read on.
The Persian Gulf drives the global economy, housing vast oil and gas reserves. The Strait of Hormuz.
Read it again.
The Strait of Hormuz.
Pay attention. Y'all pay attention to this. Read on.
Linking the Gulf to the Gulf of Oman, ranking among the world's busiest shipping lanes.
It is arguably the most important shipping lane. Okay, read on.
Nations like the United States, China, and Russia vie for influence.
Right, and why the hell do you think? You think that the Russians just love the Iranians? Was that what we think? The formation of BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, China, India, South Africa, and then the other partner nations, is a leverage against Western hegemony, which is basically the West. Okay, I'm getting tired. Read on.
By its resources. In international trade, Persian Gulf remains the standard term, emphasizing the need for a consistent, historically grounded name.
All right, now forget about scroll down. We don't care about environmental, because Esau destroys everything with his spills. Go up above conclusion. It says future name. Do conclusion.
Conclusion. The Persian Gulf bears a name forged in history from Achaemenid inscriptions of 500 BCE to Ptolemy 2nd century maps.
Right, Ptolemy. That was one of that was during Alexander the Great's. That's in the book of Maccabees. You can read about it. Read on.
And Bellin's 18th century charts, claims of Arabian Gulf amplified by Arab nations, and Trump's May 7, 2025 announcement.
He renamed the Baja Peninsula. He named that the Gulf of California. He renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, and he decided to rename the doggone Persian Gulf. What did he name it? I think he named it the Gulf of Arabia or something like that.
Amplified by Arab nations.
So he renamed it the Arabian Gulf. It's amazing. Esau truly is the king of the earth. Pride. Okay, now I want you to pull up a map go back to the Strait of Hormuz before we close out with lower back attack. And I got one video. Strait of Hormuz.
You know what they're going to say? We're the Arabians.
That's coming.
So, can we get a different map? I want to. Do me a favor. Type in, I asked you before, type in the distance from the shallowest point. The shallowest point. Because this is our gas going from $2.60 a gallon to $5.60 a gallon to $7.60 a gallon can happen this year. We better start paying attention to what's going on. Okay? So if you just type in the shortest distance between the Gulf or the Strait of Hormuz, okay? And I think it's a very short distance. I want to know the number of miles.
The narrowest distance?
Yes. Narrow is probably better. It's not that hard, bro. Come on. We got this.
21 miles.
21 miles.
That far.
Listen. The bridge that goes across Lake Pontchartrain is longer than that.
That's right.
That is serious, y'all. So that 21 miles is going to control the future of what we live in. Now, I don't know if you remember this, but 2007, when the bubble busted, 2008, gas went up to like $4. At the time, it was like $4.60, $4.70. And I remember going to work where, I could barely, I was a school teacher, I could barely afford enough money to get to work. I remember that. I don't know if y'all remember that. It was horrible. A lot of people were losing their jobs.
And the gas is obviously going to affect your groceries because they have to have trucks to get there with the groceries. So that's going to shoot the groceries through the roof. And this is why the bishop has been warning us for years now to get out and build gardens and things like that so that we can be able to survive during this time.
We
better wake up.
We better wake up and we better learn. Shout out to the other brothers that it's like Israel. We respect fear, hunger, we just respect things that are up in your face. But like some men in this room who raise quail, chickens, the eggs, brothers we talked about, we grandiose talking about how we're going to dig a pond and stock it with fish and fruit trees and this and that. But we just, Walmart, I can buy a pint of blueberries for $2.92. It's too easy. Things are not going to get easy. There's a war going on right now. And pay attention, open your eyes. So look, was that it? There was one more. I think we went through everything. There was one more, I thought. No? 6. Did we do 6? That's the one. Yes. All right, listen. Come on, man. Okay, scroll down. I thought did we cover this now?
I don't think so, not this part.
Okay, let's read this and we're going to close out after this.
Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei has warned the United States that joining Israeli strikes on his country would result in irreparable consequences for the U.S. and U.S. President Donald Trump's war of words accelerates, and the Israeli-Iran hostilities have now raged for 1 week. His remarks came as the military called on people on Israel to go to shelters early Thursday as defense systems worked to intercept Iranian missiles.
And the issue is they didn't intercept all of them. And that's why Israeli citizens, they're doing hush-hush about it. They're leaving their own country. This is serious. We showed you pictures of at night during the day that they're being bombarded. They're being hit with ballistic. And it looks like there's evidence that either at least one hypersonic missile has hit. They're wasting between $2 to $3 million for every missile defense that is fired. Even if the rocket that is fired in or the low cost rocket that's shipped in, it's not going to differentiate. Oh, that's only a $10,000 rocket. No, it's going to shoot at it. Read on.
Iran's Fars News Agency reported that bunker-busting drones have been used to target Israel. Israel also reported...
Wait, read that. Hold on. Yasa, get into
never heard of that one before.
I can tell you
what. I
know what that is.
Bring it out.
Y'all can pull this up, fact check me. A bunker buster missile. What that does is it'll hit, and anything that's underneath the bunker, you can like stuff you go on the ground, it blows that up too. Yeah. So it don't just hit the stuff on top. Look it up. It's called a bunker buster. I've seen those.
Did they say that drones dropped?
He said it was a drone. That's what
it is.
Go back up, because if that's the case, yes. And Officer Yasa mentioned about that Iran and Russia are, if Russia had a bunch of Iranian drones, we can infer that they're sharing technologies.
Without a doubt.
And as a result of that, again, the quiet confidence that they're talking, just like Israel's got the U.S., Iran has people in its corner. That Thomas said they don't want smoke with Russia. Read that again. I thought you might have read it wrong.
Nah, that's a bunker bust. I don't know what those are.
Iran's Fars News Agency reported that bunker-busting drones...
Yep. So it's being... I'm trying to process this. You got a drone, which you wouldn't lose a life, is able to drop... This must be a big-ass drone that's able to drop a bunker-buster munition from the sky. That's crazy.
Because they mentioned that Iran does not have bunkers. Israel has bunkers. They're running into those shelters, but Iran had thought of that, and they have bombs is going down there to get them where they hiding at.
Them things are nothing nice.
Oh boy!
Listen,
if he can get a picture of it.
Pull it up. Let's see if we can get it. We got 2 minutes.
Type in bunker buster. It'll pop
and
right
also, Russia has to be providing Iran with logistics. Iran don't have satellites and stuff to see
I think that I'll tell you what, they may or may not, but I know one thing, that that there was advanced math and science, and that's why they was targeting their scientists. Tehran has a lot of very prestigious universities.
Yes.
And remember, they have not been, for 4 decades, they've been trying to destroy Iran. They have not stepped to them until now.
So that bunker buster.
That's it right there.
Oh, wow.
It penetrates the ground and blows. It's a delayed detonation.
The big one is what Israel's waiting on now to arrive from the U.S. when they're coming with the big B-52s and drop those 40,000-pound bombs and all of that to get into those mountains that surround Iran. Back to that picture, all behind Iran is those mountains, and that's why they can't take out all these missile silos, because they buried them.
Hey, if we have more time, if you look at the anatomy, the terrain of Iran, it is literally completely protected from all sides. It's one of the most perfect fortress countries and then that's why Trump is, he said it earlier, McGregor says, you cannot win a war from just naval and aerial support. You have to hit the ground. And it's too logistically, it's very, very hard to get in there.
Russia lost over there. Russia went in there to try to take them out, and they couldn't take them out. And this is the history of the Persians in Iran. You can't get them out of there. They dug in.
I'm going to read this. Iran's terrain is characterized by high, rugged mountains surrounding a central plateau with deserts and salt flats. So look at it. Look at the mountains, which is, can you blow that little map up? It's a topography map. Look at the mountains in the deserts. It's completely like a friggin' fortress. The Zagros Mountains. Okay, cool. That's good. Look, you got the mountains,
all
right?
the way around. Mm-hmm.
And you got the Caspian Sea. Look at that. Deserts. Scroll back to the, yes, please. It says, the Zagros Mountains run northwest to southeast, while the Alborz Mountains line the Caspian Sea coast. These mountains enclose the central plateau, which features the Dasht-e-Kavir and Dasht-e-Lut deserts. Coastal areas include the Caspian Sea's narrow fertile strip in the north and lowlands along the Persian Gulf and Gulf of Oman in the south. It is literally a fortress. So, brothers and sisters, thank you for sticking around. Just keep your eyes open. When this show goes off, tomorrow morning when you get up, you're going to see new news of what's going on over there. Don't just depend on the stupid big 3 or 4 networks. Go find your different news outlets. Search for your news. Do searches to find out what works for you. With that, we're going to go to the Law Back Attack. Last 10 minutes of the show. Stick around. Shalom.
You can tell by my gait that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in. You can tell by the things I'm involved in. I can lose it all for my calling. If I die for the truth, it's a win-win. And going to the end, going all in. Going all in. You can tell by my gait that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in.
Most High and Christ Bless Show. Welcome to Law Back Attack. Remember, the primary objective of this segment is to do away with it. The goal is I would like to stop doing this segment when everybody gets to the green. Men's conference is about, well, y'all know what time it is. It's not too far away, and you have time. Those of you brothers who are in the yellow, you got time to get to the green. Those of you in the red, you better at least try to push to the yellow. Those of you who are in the red and have done anything for over a doggone 10.5 months, you should be ashamed of yourself. You don't believe in building a nation. You're so selfish you can't see outside your fat self. With that being said, you have the mind of a Christian. Play a Shay real quick. Shout out to the mighty Bishop Nathaniel. All praise to the Most High. Thank you for your continued leadership and keeping us sharp and on our toes. This video, the bishop has told us that we have the mind of white Jesus. Those of you who remain obese, you have the mind of your oppressor. The Israelites are not supposed to be fat slobs. Okay, you better fix. You have a Christian mindset. Play.
You said Christians as a whole are the most out of shape.
The most overweight people.
Start it again. I want every nuance. Okay.
You said Christians as a whole are the most out of shape.
The most overweight people group.
Christians are supposed to be some of the strongest people in the world, right? You are connected to Christ, the ultimate light, right? You're supposed to be prepared for spiritual warfare at all levels. Absolutely. Why have we accepted to just lay our swords down against food in this part of the fight? Why is that?
It's mind-boggling to me, you know, when I'm talking to people and they start telling me what they can't do. I'm like, wait a minute, because last time I checked, Philippians 4:13 says I can do all things through Jesus Christ. I mean, we on Sunday we say with God all things are possible. By Tuesday you tell me you can't do it. So it's a lip service. So I challenge them on the word. Either you believe God's word or you don't. Is it true, or do you believe it's true or it's not? Because the word says I can do all things through. So I think a lot of times we're thinking about what we can do in our own strength. It is not about you. We're weak, but with him all things are possible. So we have to go to him. We go to him for everything else. Go to him for this.
Pause. So here's the distinction between Christians like this lady saying, she doesn't even know what that means. When it says through him, meaning the Most High, all things are possible. What it means is you're going to be able to go to, give me Sirach 31. This is how we know all things are possible. We listen and we get this in our spirit. We begin to make changes. Like you're not supposed to eat all the doggone desserts in the world. Dainties, you're not supposed to stay upon dainties or too many meats. Read that.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 31 and verse 16. Eat as it becometh a man.
Right.
Those things which are set before thee.
I'll say it, I'm going to repeat it again. If somebody is setting something before you to eat, there's a couple ways it's going to happen. Number one, either you're going to cook it yourself, your wife or your spouse will cook it for you, and or you may go order something from a restaurant. In every single methodology, you can choose what you eat every single time. You're choosing not to eat that way. So you have the mind of a Christian. You have the mind of your oppressor. So all you brothers that are still in the red after almost a year, you are not converted. Your mind is not converted. You don't understand the Bible. Read.
And devour not.
Right. That's how you became 150 pounds overweight, because you devoured. You let your Christian mind lead you. Read.
Lest thou be hated.
Why? And that's why you get all the fat jokes. Okay, everyone, no, let's call it what it is. You know, it's something that is meant to help brothers get over that. But let's face it, it's not nice. You know, some of us had our mothers were overweight, and as kids we was embarrassed, man. You know what I mean? And if anyone had a mother that was real overweight, that was embarrassing, man. Very embarrassing. You felt like ashamed. You know what I mean? Read on.
Leave us first for manners' sake.
Come on.
And be not unsatiable, lest thou offend.
Right. Jump to verse Sirach 38, verse 4. So you're sick. You have a Christian mind and your body is sick. You need medicine. What's the medicine? The word of God. But here's the things you want to physically put in your body. Read.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 38 and verse 4.
Come on.
The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth.
So out of the earth. Now, here's the thing. An animal was created from what? Birth. Cows give birth. They have a calf. They get raised up. And what do they eat? What do the animals of the earth eat? They eat things that come from the earth. So cows eat grass. That's why God made clean animals. To clean their food that they eat through multiple stomachs to the chewing of the cud. What else? You got bell peppers, you got spinach, all these different, some of us been manipulated. We understand that. Brother, that's not the original banana, because we understand all that there. Friggin' Dr. Sebi, friggin' Ike. We understand that. The point is that if we eat things that's from the ground, it's better than eating a goddamn Pop-Tart and Popeye's chicken with literally 128 ingredients. Type in the number of ingredients in a Popeye's chicken sandwich. You're going to be astounded. There's supposed to be like 2 breadcrumbs and chicken and maybe some eggs. Look at the number. I'm telling you, this is why black people will kill you if they don't have Popeye's chicken sandwiches. People have shot up drive-thrus because they're addicted. Type in, come on, give me that. Come on, man. I'll do it. Hey, Siri, how many ingredients in a, what's the one? Chick-fil-A, sorry. Hey, Siri, how many ingredients in a Chick-fil-A sandwich? Hold up, y'all. Here's an answer from ChefResource.com. No, that ain't right. Anyways, that's it. Okay, so let's just look. So a chicken sandwich technically should have the bread, which if it's whole bread made the right way, it should be maybe egg yolks, some flour to create, and then chicken, egg yolks, flour, right, and maybe cheese, and then the bread. Look at the number of ingredients. Now they differentiate between orange and black. I don't know what that means, but I know one thing that I can't pronounce. One of the words is dimethylpolysylozane, which I'm looking like. The point is that our people are, and these taste very good if you ever had one. They're addicted. They're putting chemicals and processes to make you get addicted. It changes the chemistry of your brain. This is why, go back to Sirach 38, verse 4. Last time we're going to go close out.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 38 and verse 4.
Uh-huh.
The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth.
So to be safe, there's a YouTube nutritional neuroscientist. He's into sports medicine. He talks about if you're a fat back lard ass, shout out to Severus, Captain. Love you, brother. If you ate just the following: meat, eggs, various vegetables, and fruits, and just drank water alone, just do that, you're going to lose all the weight. And then, but big, fat, huge lard asses, the fruits that you should eat should be just low glycemic, like berries. You should just eat berries for them. They're low sugar. If you do that and cut out the process, just to go back to the things that are grown from the ground and eat animals that are clean, which eat from the ground. Goat, sheep, cow, elk, bison, eat those. They eat stuff that comes from the ground. Eat salmon, eat sardines, eat these things, have eggs. If you can get the pack, get your own chickens. If you do that, you will get healthy. The things that come from the ground. Read it again, we're done.
The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth.
Out of the earth, read.
And he that is wise.
So you've been studying the Bible, you understand what the Israelites, you understand obesity is a problem. And it is in black Americans, black or African, we are the absolute worst health out of all the population of the United States of America. By far. It's horrible. Go to Walmart. Do it. The Walmarts where most of them we go to, you see about, I'd say 75% black people. You see a lot of black people in Walmarts. And just count, pick a random sample of 10 black women. Just look. I do it all the time. Just look. And 80% or more are overweight. It's disgusting. It is disgusting. The only way you're going to fix women, men got to fix. We have to fix it first. We got to fix men, and then we got to put the law down in the house with not just our wives, with our daughters, nieces, and all. It got to stop. But as long as you have fat, giant, lard-ass men walking around, you're a damn hypocrite, you big, disgusting barrel gun. That's why I cannot wait till all brothers get in the green. I don't want no fat, giant, disgusting lard-asses next to me at camp. I don't want you nowhere near around. Even Farrakhan said, I don't want no fat men next to me. If you want to be fat, you got to get away from me. Even he know that. But yeah, we got a bunch of fat back, disgusting lard-ass captains. Thank you, Severus. With that, Most High in Christ bless.
You can tell by my gait that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in. You can tell by the things I'm involved in. I can lose it all for my calling. If I die for the truth, it's a win-win. And going to the end, going all in. Going all in.
Hey, Shalom Israel. Thanks for sticking around. It's late. We're about 2 hours in. We appreciate all of y'all. We want to shout out the Booster Club again, Officer Micah. Check it out. Not only can you scan the barcode, you can also text the word GIVE to 646-982-3858, 646-982-3858, and send your donation. The Lord loves a charitable giver. We got brothers going out all throughout missions all year long, 12 tribes worldwide, literally. So we appreciate y'all. We thank you for doing what you do. And with that, brothers, sisters, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And share the feed in the morning. Everyone's asleep. Help us to grow. We broke 30,000 subscribers. It took forever. We're going to get there. All praise the Lord. We're going for 40 next. Help us. And with that, we are your host, and we say shalom.
Shalom.
Love, even if you don't